Listen, if you are skeptical about Web3 and don't quite understand why we need it and why we continue to build on Web3, then this video is for you, especially if you're a developer, because I'm going to explain it in a way that you've never heard it explained before. So it's called Web3 because there's a Web 1 and there's a Web 2. So the iteration of the internet as we know it came about as new technologies were introduced. Web 1 is the first version of the World Wide Web, and this is considered the read era. There were many consumers and few creators. Most of the content was actually stored on the website files and web pages, and the websites were created with programming languages such as HTML and CSS. The most common action a user would take in Web 1 is reading. Web 2 is a second iteration of the web, and this is considered the write era. Now more people have the ability to create content on the internet. This is made possible thanks to introducing database and server-side scripting languages. So we started seeing blogs, then YouTube came about and people creating video content. We have the likes of Instagram where you create pictures and videos. Even on a news site or a shopping website, you have the ability to leave a comment and leave a review. The reason why we're able to do this is because of database technology and server-side scripting languages such as JavaScript and PHP. So an application developer or a website developer is able to create a website, and the information that is shown on the website is actually retrieved from a database. So because we have a database to store the data, it became much easier for application developers to allow everyday users to contribute data to that website because they're able to now store that data in a database. And then the programming languages such as JavaScript and PHP allow you to perform communication between the front end, which is what the user interacts with, and the back end, where they can retrieve the data and display it to the user. As you can imagine, even though we iterated from Web 1 to Web 2, there are still Web 1 type websites that exist today. So there are websites where the only thing someone can do is read from it. There is no ability to interact with the website or add any content to it. So now let's talk about the third iteration of the web, and this is called Web 3. This is considered the ownership era. So the persons who create content also have the ability to own that content as well. This is made possible through the introduction of distributed ledger technology. And one really popular type of distributed ledger technology is called blockchain technology. So that's why when you hear people talking about Web3, they speak about blockchain almost synonymously. So because we now have things like smart contracts, wallets, and accounts, users are able to not only create content but own this content. I'll explain what that means a bit later in the video and how that is beneficial to you and I. So to recap the technology iterations from Web 1 to Web 2, in Web 1 we had programming languages such as HTML and CSS and the introduction of protocols such as HTTP. In Web 2 we also have the Web 1 programming languages such as HTML and CSS, but we also have access to server-side scripting languages such as JavaScript and PHP with almost limitless storage and server access because of cloud technology. In Web 3 we still have web pages which are created with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We still have databases and cloud technology, but now we also have blockchain technology, which gives us the ability to create tokens, transact and track these tokens, and manage our accounts in a decentralized manner. Web 3 is not just about blockchain, we're also making use of other technologies such as augmented reality, but for this video we'll focus on blockchain technology because we're focusing on the fact that you can actually own a piece of the new web. I love the way Hacker Noon described it. They said companies create content and companies made money in Web 1. In Web 2, people created content and companies made money. In Web 3, people will create content and people will be able to make money. And what they're trying to really highlight here is the fact that because you are owning your content, you're able to transact and distribute that content in any way you see fit. And you'd also be able to receive the revenue from the content that you distribute. So in Web 3, we're focusing on blockchain technology, and some aspects of blockchain technology that allows us to own a piece of the internet are things like keys and wallets, smart contracts, as well as tokens and cryptocurrencies. Web3 allows content creators to become owners through the adoption of blockchain technology. Ownership in Web3 means each user has complete control and is completely responsible for their account on the blockchain. So your keys, which is your public key and your private key, represents your account, and only you have access to these keys. There's software called wallets, which you can use to manage these keys, and it also allows you to do things like check your balance, check the tokens in your wallet, and also create tokens and create transactions on the blockchain. So the way that we go about owning a piece of Web3 is actually creating content on the blockchain. What are some things that you create in Web2 now that you do not own? Comment below. So for example, we can write a smart contract, and the smart contract can be deployed to a blockchain. Now, the person who deployed the smart contract is the owner of this code and owns this application. Let's say the smart contract actually created an NFT collection. Another way to go about owning an NFT is by buying an NFT or minting one on a service called OpenSea. So when you own this NFT, you have full control over this NFT. The only person who's able to transact this NFT, such as send it to someone else in exchange for some value, is the person who has the account that owns the NFT. So the only person who has this account is the person who has the keys for this account. And the only person who has the keys for this account is you. Now, that is why you need to keep your keys very safe. I'll park the security conversation for now, but what I'm trying to highlight here is that once the NFT is in your wallet, meaning is associated with your account, you have full control to distribute this NFT however you like. You can send this NFT to anyone once they have internet access in exchange for some value. So you can exchange your NFT for cryptocurrencies, for example. The private key, which acts like your password for your account, is stored in your wallet, whether you have a software wallet or hardware wallet. That is why no one should have access to these keys, because the only place it exists is within your wallet. Not even the blockchain node operators or the blockchain programmers are able to have access to your keys. So that's why if your keys are compromised, your account is compromised. There's no way to reset your password, or in this case, reset your keys. So you need to keep your keys very secure. And that is the biggest risk when dealing with blockchain technology, is understanding the operational security that you have to pick up in order to be safe and hold on to your assets. The way that you are able to achieve ownership within Web3 is by owning some sort of digital asset which is represented as a token. So you can own something like a cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, or you can own a token which represents something in the real world. This can represent a house. In the future, it could represent your data, because there are a lot of people who are working towards decentralizing social media. So anything that exists today, whether digital or physical, can be represented on the blockchain via a token, and you can own this token if you created the token yourself, if you have bought the token from someone else, or if you receive the token by some other means. So let me just give you a hypothetical example. Right now, when you create a post on Instagram, you upload it to Instagram.com. If for some reason Instagram blocks you out of your account, you have no more access to this. So you don't actually own that piece of content. However, let's say there was a Web3 decentralized social media. When you create this image will not be stored on Instagram servers only, but on a decentralized server, and it'll be connected directly to your wallet. So only the person with the keys for that wallet is able to do anything with that data. So if you wanted to then put that data on another social service, you will have the ability to. If you want to remove it from Instagram or the future decentralized social media, you can. So the difference here is you have full control over your token, which is your data, and you can also transact that for value or anything that you'd like to do. So this makes it so that you are directly receiving the revenue generated from that image, video, whatever media you have created. And as long as that token is in your wallet, you have full control of how you use that token and how you transact that token. Subscribe to this page so that you can stay ahead of all things Web3. Not me wearing sunglasses because the future is so bright.